Hello, hello, welcome. Happy Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. How's everyone doing? Um, Apologies for yesterday, although I can't say I didn't warn you. um, I had to meet some movers, and they came promptly at the time they said they were going to come. I think they were actually 2 minutes early. And we got everything taken care of in an hour and a half. It was amazing. Um, Hello, Hans. How are you? Newland, good to see you. Um, and so I just decided after the chaos, uh, I was gonna continue to sort things out after the move. So over on YouTube, what do we got? Russell, hello. Lost going to the shop. DRZ Pens, good afternoon. Dawn, hey. Ellen, cleaning the nurse pens again today. I know you're waiting for them. I know you are. We're gonna hold off on those actually for a little bit. We're gonna start on something else. We got some new pens in today. Uh, so we're gonna barge right into those. But we will get back to those nurse pens. We will get back to those. So if you hear like extraneous noise going on, they are fixing the roof literally above my head. So far in the last 15, 20 minutes, um, they were I don't know what they were doing. They were drilling something so hard that my uh, my furnace filter and the vent actually unhinged and came slamming down. My filter came flying out. Part of it broke actually. Hello, McPenthusiast. Um, Simply Obs. Hey. So yeah, it was like I hear this noise and I'm thinking, oh man, there better not be like it sounds like glass. It was aluminum. Um, but anyway, any day a roof is being repaired, but you don't have to pay as a good deed. That is absolutely true. I am most certain that my rent and down payment on this space is paying for a portion of the roof. So um, you were looking over your online bank account and was surprised that Cardinal was an automotive expense. Well, I guess we keep trucking along, right? Lex, glad you're okay. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I just I'm finally I have pretty much everything here moved here that I want to have moved here for now. So I hope nothing else comes falling down. Um, Bare minimum, it would have taken out some cartridges and refills, but it missed some of my photography equipment by like a foot. So it takes a stab on the payments. Okay, yeah. So anyway, um, it makes it easier justifying the budget. Yeah, it was a car expense, honey. Absolutely, automotive. It was a filter. It was something. Um, Egads. I hope they're done soon. Um, it's gotten progressively worse as the day went on. But anyway, so we got a couple things today. Um, I um, um, I didn't bring in my soul purchase from the weekend, so I brought that in yesterday. Um, and then by the time everything was done moving, I said, "The heck with it." My daughter and I went across the street, and there's a drive-in there, and we got malts and shakes. So, and I said, "Yeah, I was fried," and I looked at my daughter and I said, "Do I look tense?" She goes, "You look tense." So, we got shakes and all was good. Um, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, so this it doesn't fit in the box quite right, so I haven't figured that out yet. The ice cream does make it. Well, so the funny thing is I said, well, let's get something for Lisa. And then when I went to stop off at Lisa's office, she's like, well, I can't, they have rules about having food and beverages in the office. She can have like her coffee cup, but that's about it. So I was like, okay. So I ended up putting it in the fridge, and then I ended up having half of it later on in the evening anyway. Yeah, I made 8 culvers today after the roofing. Yeah, something. All right, so this is what we found, and I guess for me, what makes this most interesting is the packaging here. Again, it doesn't close because it's not quite packaged correctly. I don't know how it's supposed to be packaged, but we'll figure that out. The HP6 gold number. Jeez. I don't know if it's safe to be here. Number 16 medium inkwell in gold. And so handy pen. And what struck me, there's 2 things that struck me about this set. I am not by any stretch of the imagination. I think this is the first Sengbush inkwell I have ever in my life bought. I don't think there's nothing on that side. I've just never, I mean, despite the similarities between Esterbrook Diplis, I've never really been all that interested. Esterbrook Diplis is enough of a rabbit hole. The other few desk sets that I like is enough of a rabbit hole. I don't need to go down this rabbit hole. But when I saw this, whoops, that's the nib protector. There's the pen. It's got a little bit of a warpage to it. We'll take a look at this. I decided not to turn on. I have another overhead light. I'm just not going to turn it on because it was too bright. Need that. It's got like a little spot on the end so that you can keep it in there. But look at this. Is it's not an outrageous color? And I know absolutely very little about these. But it is pretty much pristine. Good afternoon, Indy. Get a sturdy table in case I have to dive under it. Yeah, it's a very, very brassy gold. It's plastic. Isn't it something though? I mean, it's unbelievable. So I really don't know. I'm gonna have to play with it. I just don't know how. Obviously, we've got a couple of screws. Whether or not that, I mean, there's some weight to it. They used to have that color in Chevettes. I believe you are correct. Mine, all 3 of mine, were all silver, so I didn't have the gold version. I don't know. Should we take this apart? I've never taken one of these apart. You owe me an apology? Why do you owe me an apology? I don't know what this, I mean, this is very clearly maybe the only way to get this apart. John Velli might need it. Why did this? There we go. Does John collect these? Well, now that's a heavy piece of metal, and that's all that does. All right, so that doesn't get me anywhere. I'm assuming this must pull up. He does, huh? So that pulls out. So then you must just fill it this way, huh? I mean, I guess that's all there is to it. Yeah, this is a weight. That's all this is. I mean, this weighs nothing. So this just holds everything in place. So let's just screw that back together. When you said you don't trust other people's repairs if you don't know them, I thought you were being overly dramatic. Oh, yeah. I mean, took a pen of the picture you got yesterday. I mean, when at some point, and that's the beauty of vintage fountain pens, right? The lever fills and some of these repairs are really pretty easy to. This is interesting. There's a little bit of a. They tried to get it open. It actually does look like there was some ink in here. Maybe. You regret not going to the Chicago Pen Show this year? It was a good show. It was a good show. It's not really meant to come apart from what you've seen. Oh, maybe this is it. So I'm looking at, you can see this, kind of see this little black. Yeah, this is not. It must be adhesive. All right, so this has never been inked. So I guess you must just pour this in here. Pour ink in there, huh? You would think it would have a cup liner for the ink. Yeah, I've never, like I say, this is the first one I've ever had. I've had some of the Morris sets kind of as a pass through. You may not be able to survive another Chicago Pen Show, no more room. I don't have much more to sell you, Hans. I think you're probably safe. Yeah, it's gotta go this way. But there's no rods in here like there is an Esterbrook. Yeah, I've got no more famous last words. Well, I did just clean out 2 storage units, so I mean, your guess is as good as mine. The pen's got a little warpage, but I kind of like it. This plastic has got this. Kind of look to it. You're incapable of saying no. Yeah. Well, so am I. I mean, you offered me something yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't even, by the time you ship that box to me, Hans, it's going to be massive because you'll find 7 more things to put in it. Plastic feed. And then there's a little dot there, which corresponds to this little dot here. Sits in just like that. No markings on the barrel. That's a really cool barrel. That's kind of cool. Number 16 Sengbush nib. A decal. No, this is it's like it's painted. It's filled in. Handy pen. Really, really nice. I don't know if those are supposed to be tulips or what those are supposed to be. This is a little disappointing here. I suspect this is probably from the antique. I'm guessing anyway. The antique shop owner. Oh, well, let's get this thing open. But yeah, there it is. That's my one purchase. It is pretty cool. So maybe Jonathan Velli will take it off my hands. I really don't want it. I want nothing to do with this. But I felt compelled. You know, we were. Where's my knife? We had made this trip, and I was. I'll be darned if I wasn't gonna come home with something. All right, so that's all the way at the end. I don't know how the heck the pen is supposed to sit in there. Nice box, Sengbush, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A little bit of a tear on there, probably because somebody was trying to jam it in. Yeah, I have no idea how this, maybe this goes at an angle. There we go, probably like that. Good old Milwaukee. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was part of it that sold it for me. The fact that it was kind of a cool gold color didn't hurt. The price was, as I say, the price was right. Maybe the pen had a separate box. It doesn't appear to. I mean, it could have been that janky. I don't know. Maybe the bow in the box, bow in the pen is intentional. I don't. I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyway, all right. So what do we got today? I don't know if you can hear that. That's. They've been doing this for this is the second week of doing the roof. So, all right. I know what those are. Those are bad nibs. All right. So we got in the mail today. Actually, it was yesterday. We got a grouping of Parker Vacumatics. See if I can. I guess I'll have to do 51 vacs. So we're going to take a look at these today. I'll look. I love the gold fill caps. Sterling cap. So hopefully I'm gonna do this now just to get the anxiety over. Check all the clips. Because you all know there's nothing I love more than a. Oh, we got a amber jewel on this one. Same on this one too. All right, very good. Let's take them apart. Let's see what we got. All the clips are good. A bunch of these are kind of the same. I don't see any really outstanding nibs yet. You checked the clips before you sent them? You fixed the only loose clip already? Did it not have a jewel in it, or? I would love for these to go smoothly. This one's nice. Burgundy. I love this color. All right. Room over here. I've only had this hook on my desk for at least 15 years. I really ought to get it fixed one of these days. Falls off, I just put it back on. Give me just a second. I want to check the air conditioning in here. It's been nice and cool in the morning, but then it's been getting up into the mid 70s in the afternoon. So I've not had the air on. And then I forget to turn it on. Then it starts getting, you're wearing a sweater in the morning. The jewel came out easy. You never had that happen before? Yeah. Buy a lottery ticket the day those come out easy, right? 70, yeah, it's currently 92 in the south. Oh my God. I think we're supposed to hit 80s again this weekend. I just want none of that. I want no part of 80 degrees. Okay, we're gonna soak that one. I got a taste of wearing. You like the 70s, yeah. Me too. The 70s were all right. I got a taste of wearing a sweater again, and now I want it back. You want the warm temps back just to ripen the tomatoes you have left? Don't need to can 5 pounds of green tomato relish. I'll be nice. I know my mom's got like a couple of large gardens that she has, so. Somebody used some stealing something from this guy. But these guys are stuck on. soak that one too. Hope some of these come apart. That would be nice, huh? Oh for 2 though, so far. That's a good sign. That one came apart. I gotta fix this camera. It keeps bouncing around here. I think I've got it up taller than I had it before. So it's not quite as solid. All right, 2 for 2. Since these are all the same color, we're just gonna have to be careful about which ones we put in the ultrasonic. kind of want the tool. The more you watch me use it, I don't care to work on vacs. Yeah, it's a decent tool. I tried for a long time to get to work with Scott to see if we could get some kind of wholesale arrangement. It just wasn't going to work out at you know how he was getting them made. Um, I know he was going to make some adjustments to how he was doing them so that there would be more margin in it. Because I mean, I want to be able to carry a tool that I would recommend. You know, um, I know there was someone out there in the community that was kind of giving them some crap about the threading was not correct. Which I thought I was a little surprised at that they would say something like that. But I mean, it doesn't. I don't know what's not correct about it. It threads on. It locks down. Oops. I mean, it's easy to hang on to. It's easy to rotate. You know, if I'm in the heat, I'm doing this. You know, kind of rotating it. It's easy to use. If you've got the oversized, there's an oversized collet for it. I just don't know what's not to like about it. Some people just have to complain. Yeah, I mean, like I say, when he told me who it was, I was like, "Are you serious? Really?" Okay. But it's better than anything else, really. You know, I've got a really nice double-sided wrench that I like, except over time, it has spread a little bit so it doesn't clamp down. Doesn't clamp down like it, you know, to give you enough. I mean, it's so much better than most of the wrenches, but the handle part, it's spread. And over on YouTube, we've got Assam from Assam, India. Hello, welcome. I think you win the farthest away award maybe today. How often do I use the oversize? Uh, it stays in the box. I mean, it's like the same question. How often do I use an oversized Vacumatic diaphragm? You know, I can count on one hand the number of them I've actually done in my life. I think it's 4 now. Now, I don't seek them out. I don't collect Vacumatics. I don't, you know, anything like that. But, you know, when you need it, the nice thing about this whole kit is it comes with the collet. So it's not one of those you have to, you got to buy it separately, and, you know, it's an extra charge. You know, you want it just in case. Got some new faces over on the YouTube side. Hello, hello. I will try this one more time. This one might, you know, if we got to soak 3, we got 2 left. So hopefully, if we got to soak 3, that's not too bad. The salad spinner is awesome for cleaning pens. Yeah, it is, isn't it? The salad spinner is amazing. Hans is a genius. I know he didn't design it and develop it, but he's proselytizing the salad spinner positivity. I've had at least one that I know of. Person from our club made one. We got a club meeting coming up in, I guess, is it a week from this weekend? Be interesting to see if anybody else made one. You couldn't find the turkey baster to use, but you got a set of 3 funnels at Dollar Tree. Cut the nozzles off for the 2 shortest ones. They work out. Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean that's all you need. Is you need some kind of cylindrical. Cylindrical tubing, whatever it is, you know. Well, I will say some of these are about the easiest Vacumatic units I've ever seen to come out. So, um, any tool would have done the job on about half of these. I can see a little buildup of crud on this hood here, so I suspect this one's going to be difficult to. Ellen, you got a meeting in 15 minutes. You're going to have to pause for a while. Well, we'll be here. Catch the replay too. Worst case scenario, right? Come on. Maybe the entire meeting would like to watch pen repairs. Is it a Zoom meeting? Maybe we can zoom in. I don't think this one's coming open. That might spice up the office, huh? Who's this guy in the Zoom? All right, well, we're going to soak. Actually, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to try these two here again just for fun. And then we'll soak those. They're probably just caked with ink, so. Nice thing about the 51 hood is you can almost get it to the point where it deforms because it will, when you heat it back up, it will take back its shape. Unlike those PFM hoods we had problems with a few weeks back. All right. You know, and it comes in this nice little case. Keep all your parts. It gives you an extra washer, and it actually does include a wrench because you can, if you have trouble getting it loose, you can loosen it up by doing that. But keep it all nice and getting the instructions in there. I mean, it's really a nice bunch of kit, as they say. What I need is a ballpoint of all things. Hang tight. I never thought I'd say this, but this guy here is maybe the hardest working pen in the shop. Cross titanium gray, classic. Your husband keeps a crossband clipped to the lapel of his polo shirts, along with a rollerball of some form. Oh, okay. Eight. I probably wouldn't go that far, but you know, it's just nice to have a. It's nice to have a ballpoint once in a while. I'm actually trying to write out the refill because I've got. I don't much care for the refills, the standard refills that come in them. But I do like the broad refills. I think are fantastic. But you know. All right. We got those guys in there. We'll let them sit. What I probably should do is get a second tray and then make this a little more manageable. That way we can spread these out. That way we got room once we start tearing it apart here. Dare I say, I think the roofer stopped. It's too late for lunch. All right, let's see. You. I am definitely going to be changing water out after this. We got a new tool for this, don't we? Oops. Wrong one. So since these are all blue, I'm just going to start taking these apart and then hopefully by the time I get to the end, first one will be clean and I can swap out another one. Oh, I hear him hammering again. So far, so good on these. You. It's got a lot of blue purple pigment, something going on here. This is all we're gonna put that in the Dr. G's, I think. And got the little number on there so we know which one that is. There's only one black. A whole bunch. Some kind of red ink in this guy. I'm gonna use a little heat to see if that'll free it up. is a handy tool. This vac ejector. I had one custom made for me from Joel Hamilton made this one for me many years ago. But it doesn't, it's too thick. It doesn't fit in 51s. I'm going to just get these kind of as prepped as possible here, and then I'm going to drill them all out at the same time. I was pleased to see this afternoon that I'm guessing I haven't spoken with Schaefer, but the estimate that the legacies would be back in stock by October. I had some on order and they shipped. So I'm hoping that that was a case of they came earlier than expected. Yeah, new colors. Yeah. I was gonna, I really was gonna keep a black one for myself, but when they said, well, there might be some new colors coming out, I'm kind of like, they come out with the burgundy. I might be all over that. Burgundy or cardinal red or something, hint, hint. I'm good with the nib the way it is, but no. I mean, you got to have a fine nib. Their fine nibs in the past were always on legacies, were always pretty wet. I think I've got, yeah, PFM green light color would be great. That green that they had for the Legacy one was awesome, though, wasn't it? I mean, it was a more of a shiny metallic. But yeah, I'm thinking burgundy and green. All right, let's take a look. Tom Spence sent out an email. Tom Studio, they will start shipping to the U.S. and they will be covering the tariff costs. There's another dealer that said they would start shipping. I forget who that is. Yeah, well, I don't know. Green gets your vote. Yeah, it would be. I mean, here's the problem. They're going to come out with, what's going to happen. They're going to come out with green. They're going to come out with a really nice burgundy, or maybe man, if they came out with a bright red, I mean, even for reasons aside from it being, the new color, a bright red might be kind of nice. Maybe kind of like a real bright, something they've never done before. Rebuilding the touchdown converters is not fun, but the pens themselves are great. I was under. Have you rebuilt one of those before? I was under the understanding that, at least talking with Cheryl, that they were like, "You rebuilt 3. Okay, we need to talk sometime. I'd love to learn how that goes." It was a novel idea. They just sort of really maybe, could have come up with a better system. While we're waiting for that, this is pretty clean, but we're going to drop this one in. Well, you know, sometimes I almost prefer that these diaphragms completely ossify so that they just come out in 1,000 pieces. Sometimes it's just easier. A Brooks blank. Well, let's not go silly now. I think we gotta be happy they're making this stinking thing at all, right? How about a sage green? That'd be too weird? Yeah, they did a Brooks blank. The price would go way up. I mean, it's already gonna. I mean, don't hold your breath on a on the price of a gold nib. Because you know that's going to be. Come on. Vermilion? Yeah. Bring back the old snorkel colors. Peacock? That's a great color. God, this is the most stubborn barrel ever. I don't know what it's stuck on. So, where is my... Diamond cast. Oh my god. There we go. Finally. Yeah, we can dream. We can dream. Re-release the ink with the peacock color and they sell a ton of them. Yeah. Right? You know, do it like Lamy used to do it. It was a home run. It really was. It's, you know, especially from the retailer standpoint, you're like, great. We've got a pen. We've got a color. How great is this? Everybody who buys one buys the bottle. You know, and then, I don't know, Lamy ran out of ideas. They ran out of colors. Which is funny because you got a company like Sailor who's got, 300 colors. Lamy couldn't come up with another color, different shade. So that one's good. I mean, it was just lost revenue. That's how I want it to come out. Just like that. You need to put those tiny pieces back together to make sure you got it all? Yeah, that would be something, huh? Hey, listen, it's bad enough when Hans makes me count all the little rods in the Diplo set. Sailor color makes you think you're at a paint store picking out paint colors. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason Lamy couldn't have done it. You were thinking about sending me Diplo sets for restoration so you could get accurate counts? Where's the crowdsourcing document that we set up for Diplos? rods. You know, Schaefer's not doing a bad job. I think they're slower than we all have patience for. Um, but I think they're doing all right. I think when if we fast forward 5 years and we look back, I think we'll be able to say, you know what, this was I mean, anything was better than Cross owning it. I mean, no one's going to argue against that. They needed someone else to take over that. Black is so hard to see on the inside. They just appear timid. Schaefer, you mean? Ross says a new person heading and has some plans on expanding selection. Well, I don't think they did themselves. I like Cross. I do. Deep down, I'm rooting for him. But I don't think they did themselves any favors last year by requiring list pricing, no discounting on their pens. We're gonna let these dry and then look at it tomorrow because, oops, I just can't see the black. When they did that, I mean, they're obviously their pens went up 20%, right? I mean, you lost that. You need a second or third mortgage for Cross's new pen. Yeah, I was really disappointed. I saw the catalog yesterday, and I don't know who buys that. Who do they think that target market is? Do they think they have people wanting to shell out $1,299? I sincerely want to know. I think it's a great pen. I just don't think that they're maybe not doing all that they could or should. I don't know what that's from. With regards to promoting, I mean, at this point, they might as well just tell people it's a sailor-made nib. I mean, where's the harm, right? They only stand to gain by promoting that part of it. I think. Well, that was easy. Click enthusiast, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. I mean, they back in the day, they were really when they first came out, they had this cool set, really, really cool. You could buy, and the idea was as a customer would come in the store, and then they would say, okay, well, you would choose your Peerless, and then you would open this setup, and it had a bottle of ink, it had a converter, and then it had all the nib units. You know, extra fine, medium, broad, and zoom, I think were the options because they had a zoom nib option on a Peerless. Boy, do I wish I'd have got one of those. But it had been, you know, so you had the nibs in both colors, the gold and then the rhodium plated. So whatever, you know, whatever pen you had, you could outfit. I mean, I think the move now is to get them in the used market. I mean, that's that's the only thing that makes sense. You know, and we certainly don't want to see them come out with that pen in a, you know, like a plated option. That would just be maybe an awful thing. I don't know. I was just thinking, I think it's got to be hard to compete at that price point. There are a lot of options. I'll never forget being in Tokyo, seeing Tokyo Tower, and saying to myself, you know what? That Peerless in the Tokyo is really pretty cool. And having been here, I think when I get back, um, I'm gonna grab that Peerless. If it hasn't sold, this is another classic. If it hasn't sold by X date story, I'm gonna take that when we get back. Now, in this case, it was, we're talking 5 days or something. And then, of course, it did sell. And when I went to go order another one, because I said, yeah, I got to have it, discontinued, out of stock, no more to be found. Years ago, you worked at an office supply store and you carried Cross and Mont Blanc. Sold one Mont Blanc I was there, a very expensive one. The wife of a car dealer bought it as a gift for her husband. Yeah. You only sold one Mont Blanc? We're just going to double check all these tomorrow. Once they dry, sometimes the diaphragm, it'll turn a little bit more white. And so it's just easier to see. All right, what do we got in here now? Nothing. There's nothing in here. Did I do that one? Yeah, I did this one. So all that's left is they would have sales contests and you won a silver, gold, and matte black pen. Nice. Well, so this was this was this color when I put these pens in there, so that's good. I guess I could put the black by the black, that would help, huh? There's not a lot of sales contests in retail anymore. I'm trying to think if I'm in all my years if there's ever actually been one. Something tells me maybe Yaffa had one at some point. but I can't remember. I remember when I was in the music retail business, we had a sales contest one time right after I started. And it was back in the 80s, early 90s, yeah. What was the steal? You got certain spiffs, we call them spiffs, for selling certain Yanagisawa saxophones. And like some of them were 50, but some of them were 100, but then there was an extra bonus of 100 if it was, I forget what the extra bonus was, but I managed to somehow nail a $200 spiff. I thought that was pretty cool. That was all I made. I didn't make any more, but I'd take $200. Do you think the decrease in sales contests is due to influencers becoming the wageless salesperson? That's a very interesting question. They don't need to have a sales contest because you got other people doing it for free. At least the marketing part of it, right? I think some companies are overly relying on influencers to do their work and maybe they shouldn't. I have a little bit of a problem with that. I think you should invest in a consistent message and do your own marketing and not rely on. You think it's a symptom of the decline in commission-based sales? Yeah, I just think, because you don't get a consistent, or it just sounds. I have to take it with a grain of salt. I don't trust the message. Is the Parker 51 Vacumatic preferable to the Aerometric, or is it just preference? Well, it depends. I think the 51 Vac is considerably easier to repair. Throw that back in there. You don't have to repair an Aerometric very often. But if something goes wrong on an Aerometric, it goes wrong in a big way usually. Whereas these come apart. I mean, with a little heat and some soaking, and here we got a little grape juice going on. Ink capacity greater on a Vacumatic. Um, you've got, I mean, Vacumatics have different colors. Some may be nicer than, I mean, plum's a nice color, but if you like it, if you don't like it, then, I mean, it's hard color to nail down. Um, I usually have to, when I get one, I usually have to pull out a burgundy because I can't tell the difference without having one. And sadly, last year I had a plum and I was intending on keeping it because I always wanted a plum just to have as a reference. Keep a plum and a burgundy, and then you always know what color plum is. And I was forced to sell the plum, and that's just how it is. But in Vax, you've got Nassau, you've got mustard, you've got buckskin. I mean, if those colors float your boat, then they float your boat. Double jewels, I love the double jewel look, really nice. Basically the same nib, so I mean they perform the same. It's just Vac's going to hold more ink. Now, the big difference for those who are not interested in doing their own repairs is 8.5, 9 times out of 10, you pick up a 51 Aerometric in the wild. A simple flush and clean, and it's usually, I mean, you should. I like to open the hood up and clean out the collector, but you can flush it clean in it, and it's good to go. Um, Vac, you have to send off. You just do. Unless you know how to, unless you've got the tools. There we go. That's a little better. Aerometric is a dark blue with a touch of green, and probably the teal, which is a solid color, really nice color. One of my favorites. All right, any of these others that we want to throw in the sauce? Well, let's do this one. This one's kind of icky. Got to do them one at a time since I want to mix them up. Yeah, it's a dark teal, yeah. See if a little soak will get this guy open. Hello, Carol, over on YouTube. Glad you're here. Maybe you'll be my good luck and these little buggers will come open. Coming on you, all right. Well, that one didn't open, so we'll get one of these open. We'll get one of these open. We got 4 left that need to come apart. I just have them soaking. I don't have them actually in the ultrasonic, so I might have to put them in there to do that. But they should be fine soaking in a cup. One of these has got to open up. First rule of pen repair, patience. That's right. Hard rubber pens and 51s. You can usually apply a decent amount of heat to them to try to get them open. This one's got a nice looking nib on it too. You look great, and I've failed in past attendance to express what great joy it is to have you and Lisa back home to the pen community. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We are good to be back in some capacity. It is a little surprising how much I have not forgotten, but what I've missed in just 9 months. Well, these are still going to go back in. I went and ordered Lamy yesterday, and I was like, what are all these colors? Where do they come from? Did that get any cleaner? Maybe a little. I'll drop that in there just for fun. Most of these look pretty good. But we'll drop them in one at a time. We'll see if we can get them out. While we're waiting, dang it, we've got my perpetual pain in the you-know-what over here. This guy that started to open and then stopped has been soaking for I don't remember how long. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. it to stop. It moved and then it stopped. I'll tell you what, the nib is clean on it though after 4 weeks of soaking. I'm half tempted to push it back in just to see if I can get it to come back out again. The green has given us nothing but grief, so let's see if... I mean, it hasn't even given us a... The gray gave us a glimmer of hope. I'm going to give up on these, at least for now. I just don't understand how it got a little ways out and then just stopped. And I don't use section pliers hardly ever. And I'm using a lot of force on the pliers, and you shouldn't do it. Shouldn't you? You know, you have to know. I'm a strong proponent of, if you have section pliers, if you're starting out repairs and you buy a pair of section pliers, you should not buy section pliers for like 3 years. Repair pens regularly, and then after 3 years, get yourself a pair of section pliers. Because then you will know how much force and pressure it takes to get a section open by hand. And you'll know what's too much. 3 years? Hans, you think that's a good number? 3 years? Should we go more on that estimate? I put him on the spot. If he heard his name, he's running across the room. Oh, let's see. How's my water look? Oh, my water is disgusting. Oh, we can't do that now. I didn't clean out the bucket the last time I did that, so I don't have room for the Hang tight. I gotta dump this. We got a water problem. What vintage pen will you absolutely not repair? I don't know that there is. I mean, there's a couple that I probably won't. Don't like to. You'd have to run back. Thanks for the exercise. Um, I'm not a big fan of Waterman Taperites. Some of those 40s Watermans that um, they're just impossible to open. I don't like Parker 21s much. Um, I like to stick to the kind of the basics. I don't do piston fillers. I don't do back fillers. Um, I went through a brief phase a couple years ago where I decided I was gonna start doing piston fillers, but then what I did is I did something maybe stupid. Um, and I bought like 10 or 12 kind of miscellaneous German piston fillers. And they were kind of all different, and I got a little experience getting them open and working on them, but then I just like half of them didn't work and half of them were broken, and like I got enough time on my, I don't have that much time on my hands to be doing messing with that stuff. Um, I got too many other Esterbrook and lever fill repairs and touchdowns and snorkels and um, you want to try to get a mid 50s German piston filling rollerball working? Is it I had one of those. They're cool pens. You got a replaceable, like a little plastic replaceable uh rollerball unit. Pan maybe? Oh, no, not Uhu Kugeltinter. Gesundheit. Just bring my water pitchers in from home when I get them. So now I always have them ready. Anyway, so yeah, maybe 20 or 30 pens into the hobby, you should know how much force to use. And once you have them, maybe use them once every 20, 30 pens. Yeah. I think 20 to 30 is My fear is that it's going to be the default tool. You know, we were given tools right here, and these are, you know, and at some point I realized, you know, you know, as you get older, you lose some of your strength, and you know, things happen. But I used to sell section pliers. It was actually a very popular thing to sell, but it's not what I want to see people buy. It is a tool of last resort. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, tool dealers sell them as an everyday tool. Yeah, and that's it, right? Um, if I went back to selling them, I mean, you can put whatever you want in the description. Doesn't mean people are going to read it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was using a lot of force on these two, and I was fully expecting this gray one to break. Um, it's just a mess. It's going to be part of that big auction I have someday of all these pens that I can't get open. So this is fresh water, and it's still pouring out. I mean, I'd love to get these LKs open, but I mean, it's that and SM Deluxes. They're just awful. It's that plastic on plastic. At least when you've got two different materials, you've got hard rubber and plastic together. Usually, you know, one softens before the other. Well, I think that was blue when I put it in. Actually, if I'm being methodical about this, we're going to do these one by one too. It really cleaned up those U.S. Postal Service called me. They want to follow up. Follow up with what? Where my boxes are after a month and a half? I ordered boxes from the U.S. Postal Service on July 27th, thinking you know, 2 weeks to get, well, yeah, just a little over 2 weeks to get boxes before we were going to launch the website. I am still waiting for that order of boxes. So then I placed another order not too long after that because my friend Dave, our old manager, said, well, you know, sometimes if you place a super huge order, it takes forever to fill, but if you place smaller orders, that they get there faster. So I said, okay, great. I placed a small, tiny order, like, you know, 2 packages of this box and some, you know, some stickers. Still waiting on that one. So okay, well I'll play something. I'll play something for a box that's not, you know, an unusual box. Still waiting on that one. Like I'm just gonna order every other day, and then eventually one of these days there's gonna be a pile of boxes that are gonna show up. Wouldn't have got one of your pens apart without suction pliers, but they definitely should be last resort use. They're a bit safer holding a section with the nib and feed in place. Yeah, barrels like to crush. Yeah, especially with heat, right? There wasn't much to grip with on that one. It was minis, yeah, like you know Vac Debs and Estorwick pastels with the little, you know, short, tiny sections. I mean, just so hard to grab sometimes. Throw that one in there just for funsies. Well, maybe where we're gonna get today is we're gonna get the ones that we got open cleaned, complete, you know, and then tomorrow we'll drill out the filling units. Try to get the other ones open. Hope no customs do. They do. They don't do customs. Not on the boxes. Probably time to change that out. Although we will have a few people say that's starting to get good. Yeah, that customs that you had to pay Hans was a criminal. The only thing that would have made it worse is had they called it a convenience fee, but they call it a brokerage fee, right? I didn't think this one was going to get any better, but in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that, let's get some diaphragms. And we'll have to cut them, of course. He goes, my call from USPS, ask for money. They want something in business services or something. Apparently, I've shipped a few packages, and now they're interested. Okay. Probably don't need it, but it's a couple minutes of just good insurance. Fancy dip pens those are. Here's a random question. Would you recommend keeping sacks in plastic bags, or are they okay loose in parts drawers? I've done both. I've done both. I actually prefer, if you have the room for it, outside of plastic bags. Just to allow better air circulation, ventilation. I have seen sacks in plastic bags. If they've been in the bags too long, sometimes they even, like, they'll stick together. But at least in drawers, and you're pulling the drawer open and they're jostling about. There's air. All right. Well, the breather tube is good, but the rest of this is not. There we go. You've done it both ways. You need to reorganize, so I figured I might as well do it right this time. Yeah, I mean, but the problem is like, unless you have the right storage unit, like, you don't always need, let's just say size 12 sacks, right? I mean, you don't need a big drawer for them. You can put the 3 that you might need for the next 5 years in a bag. But I guess if you've got one of those storage unit that has the smaller bins and then the larger bins, that's maybe the best option. I don't seem to have. I mean, I guess I have some of those, but now the sacks that I've seen stick together, like, they've been in the bag for a long time. So I mean, I'm just being overly paranoid, probably. I might actually write some notes here on what we're doing. We're gonna have to look at the caps, clean those out. But since these are all blue diamonds, we can't put them in the ultrasonic. Now this way we're ensured that there's nothing dried up in there. Couple minutes. So let's do this. Let's at least cut these sacks. All right, so those are good to go. Just say, where did it go? I knew it was here. I'm just writing down the date codes on the nibs. Just for reference. 56 Canadian. Weird. Wasn't expecting to see that. Clearly a replacement. All right. All right, so 6 of them are going to go together tomorrow. It's 4:30. Okay, so I'm going to write a couple notes. Check barrels. Sometimes it's easier to see inside the barrel when it's not wet, especially if you're dealing with sack residue. We're going to clean caps and drill fillers, and then those 6 are basically done. Let's touch up these threads here real quick. Just make it easier to get in the barrel. If we can get a couple done, then it won't make the rest of the tray look so intimidating. All right. 37. A couple minutes. Should I try? Should we start drilling these out? I guess no time like the present. Hardest part with all these is probably going to be the fact that the sacks were still somewhat pliable. Which means the bit of sack around the pellet cup is still pliable inside the cup. Which makes it hard for the hard to get the you're late. Hard to get the pellet out. Just kidding. Hubby is home. All right. That's probably more important than watching me tinker with this stuff. There we go. A red and gray Burnham 49, huh? That sounds like fun. Looks good. Needs a cleaning and resacking. Those are cool pens. Sack wall will need to be super thin, even maybe even necked. Hmm. Trial error and some cursing. Yeah. Which is usually how I get these stupid things out. Come on. Does cursing count as a tool or a technique? It's a technique, I think. It's always better to be careful getting these pellets out. This is a 51 Vacumatic. 10 of them today. Boom. You always admire the tolerances in the blind cap body joint. You don't see that on modern stuff. No, not usually. All right. Well, Lisa's not here yet, so let's continue on, shall we? This one looks like this is going to be a mess. At least the major pounding seems to have subsided above me. 4 down, 2 to go. This filling unit doesn't look so great, but can be saved if we can. Sorry to leave so quick. Well, thanks for joining. Early morning, yeah. Have fun. Me too. Really sticky in there, so the pellet's not moving. 7 a.m. pen repair stream tomorrow. Well, I will be here at 6:45, so you know, my time. I know how much you love early mornings, Han. Come on. It is not a great looking. Pellet cup. Let's try to get this one done before Lisa walks over. Maybe that's the secret to liking early morning pen repairs. I don't know if I could do that. The roofers happened. Well, yes and no. Yeah, almost done. They were hammering something and then the thing fell down. Yeah, I was right at the beginning, but it sounded like glass breaking. What? Everybody says hi. Where's it leaking?
Right next to the.
Oh, they were hammering like really good there. Like,
yeah, they sounded like I was going to make new friends the last couple days in my office, coming through the roof. Hey, everybody! Brian's call from USPS asking. I get to learn to do new things tomorrow. I'm very excited. I might even learn. I'm going to learn how to use a new machine.
pupillator?
The pupilometer. I already know how to do that. I'm just jealous.
I am jealous. We're done in a minute. We're gonna finish this while we're here, people. We started it and if we do, then that means we can finish 651s tomorrow. Which would be awesome. Then we're left with the 4 stragglers. This is a red pellet. It was actually a little bit harder, but because there was all this diaphragm around it, it served an interesting purpose in that it locked it in place so I could drill a hole in it and pull it out. sometimes it's easier to get the diaphragm out first. So then the pellet will fall out once you drill it. But in this case, it worked the other way around. All right. We will clean out those cups with the other Dremel attachment tomorrow. So let me make that note on the thing here. So we should be in good shape tomorrow. To finish up a bunch of these anyway. And then if we get those done, then we can, I know I am expecting another repair in tomorrow, so we'll look at that. And then we can get back to those doctors, nurses' pens. Can you hear me out there? Non-contact tonometer.
I'm working on adjustments tomorrow. No, not the non-contact tonometer.
I don't know what that is.
I do know what a split lamp is.
Is a non-contact tonometer an actual thing in your industry, in your medical field?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm not in the exam room.
Well, you're in the field. I mean, if the field is the door, you're kind of in the field.
Yeah.
So
It scares me that I'm officially a medical professional. It's just wrong on so many levels. No, I'm going to learn how to do eyeglass adjustments.
Oh, it's for measuring eye pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that? I thought that's what you already.
No. I measure pupils
Your pupil.
and steg heights. No, I don't do any of the actual eye stuff. I don't do the eyeball stuff. No.
Pellet cups and heat guns is what I got.
Yeah.
Marketing measuring eye pressure. Oh, okay.
The eye pressure check is called an IOP.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very cool. Of course he did.
He worked for it. Yeah, of course.
Oh my!
Of
Do you want a
course,
job, Hans? We need an optician. You have
I
great
mean,
colleagues.
you know,
We're across from a pen warehouse.
A pen warehouse. Almost, not quite.
Imagine how fun that would be.
Imagine how much work none of us would get done.
Oh my gosh, that would be the bomb. No license needed. No.
Okay, you said.
Nice.
Okay, twist.
I got a daybed with your name on it.
Oh my god.
But no, I'm going to learn how to do adjustments since we don't have an optician on staff, and this way I can tweak the nose pads and the earpieces and all that good stuff. It's kind of
You
cool.
can fix my glasses.
I can fix you, and mine too, because every time somebody comes in, it makes me be like, oh, I got to play with mine, but I get to learn all that tomorrow. Cool.
No license needed.
No.
No license needed.
No.
Hans, book the flight. Come on, buddy.
It's got your name on it.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today. We will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow should be good. We might try to squeeze something in on Friday. So just keep after the typical. So we're recording the podcast this week on Thursday, and we'll release it on Friday at 1:30 like we have been. But we can't do it live this week because our daughter is out of town. So we're pre-recording it. So what I may do, depending on, I'm possibly expecting some visitors here at the shop. to kill some time, I may do some repairs on Friday.
I'll have QuickBooks every minute.
We'll see. We'll see. Friday, I kind of like it to be my get done early and go home day. But we'll see. So I'll probably have a better idea tomorrow afternoon whether or not that's going to happen. So, but anyway, that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll finish up for sure on those 6. Hopefully the other 4 will open. If they do, then we're gonna proceed on with those and get cooking. So have a good evening, a good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.